Good morning. Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us for this City of Nampa workshop. This is one in a series of workshops where we're taking the opportunity to prepare both the council and provide information to the public on various department goals, where we're headed, what we've gotten done, and then any specific ask that someone would need to be aware of, specifically council, as we prepare for budget. So as we get started, we're going to be hearing today from the library, from the Fort Idaho Center, the Nampa Civic Center, Family Justice Center, and the new Idaho Hispanic Community Center. So as we get started, the different directors will introduce themselves, and we'll begin with library today, but before we, and Claire, you can start making your way up, but as we get started, I just want to say I am so proud of each one of these departments, the work that gets done. We have amazing people working for the city and representing the city, and so to all of you, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your hard work and all you do. Okay, Claire, come on up and you can get started. So as you're here, you'll see your slides right.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is an interesting morning. We've never done anything like this before in front of the council, and I'm kind of excited to do it. So here we are. I'm Claire Conley. I've worked at the library for almost 14 years now. I'm the director. We have 44 staff members. That's an FTE of 33. And we're a lot of people doing a lot of hard work for the community in Nampa. The library vision statement. So the Nampa Public Library inspires and engages our community. That kind of says it all to me. We abide by that. We have so much going on. We have community events. You can see there in the picture. That was a part of a play that was brought to the library. And because we have that great lobby, we can host so many things. And our mission statement, we are a cornerstone of the community, and we have diverse programming, gathering spaces, opportunities to learn, resources. That's what we're all about. We're very important to this community. I don't know if any of you realize it, but we're the best library. All the other library directors, I meet with them often, we're the best library in the Treasure Valley as far as the space goes and as far as our staff goes and our resources and everything else. But that building, and there was controversy when it was being built, but it has created so much opportunity for the whole community to gather, for us to bring in Smithsonian exhibits, Washington medical exhibits, different things. And so I'm very proud I was very proud to be a part of that whole build, and I continue to be proud to be a part of the library. Okay, our values. These are incredibly important to me. So this is what we guide ourselves by. This is what affects our culture, and that's very important. So you have a staff that is happy. They have a staff that's content, that treats each other and the patrons well. So number one is kindness and compassion. And I think if you form everything else below that, that is like the pivotal thing for me, is that we are kind and compassionate to everyone that comes through the door and to each other. That's paramount. Respect and integrity, of course, that goes along with kindness and compassion. You have to do your job well, you have to respect each other, and you have to respect the people you're dealing with, and respect also the building and the resources, and then we will all take care of that together. Freedom of information, that's very important for a library, where we are able to give diverse information to our community, and they can all gather and learn from that, and we continue to do that well. Inclusion, we include the whole community, we include our whole staff, we include when we're selecting materials, when we're doing anything, we're thinking about the demographics of Nampa, what kind of citizens we have, what's best going to suit them, and each library is different. So we're focused on Nampa, right? So if it's Boise Public Library, they're going to have a very different focus, but we're focused on Nampa when we do anything. Accountability, incredibly important. So accountability I feel accountable for our staff, for our patrons, for what goes on, but also the funds. So my husband and I owned a business for 13 years, and that was our money. Right, and that's what I handled the money, and that's what I was used to doing. And now I treat the citizens' money as if it's my money, and I'm very careful with it, because I was always careful with our own money when we had our own business. And that's something that Not everyone can say, some people have always worked for government entities, but I have a kind of a different perspective because of that, and I think it's probably a good perspective to have. And innovation, we're always looking at ways to bring technology. The Women's Century Club has been so good to us. Every year they give us $2,000 to create more innovation. They contribute to our technology. We've got $4,000 this year because we didn't spend the $2,000 last year, so we're going to come up with some big ideas what we're going to do with that money, and so we can have that for the community. Moving forward, okay, so the city outcomes and library goals. This is a kind of fun one we've been working on. All departments have been working on it. City outcome in this instance is excellence in city government, and the library goal is city survey satisfaction goal of 4.0. And I'd love it to be even higher than that, but we generally get very good goals as far as the surveys. We're going to be launching another survey here in another month or two. We do one annually, and those are, to tell you the truth, I don't get enough out of them because people really like the library. We get some things we need to work on and change, but we're continuing, and we will listen to the citizens. Next, city outcome, creating economic opportunity. So participation in adult library programs annually is very important, and by that I mean educating people to go out and get better jobs, bringing in new ideas, bringing in people that can talk to them about how to improve themselves and what their businesses, different things. We work with the Department of Labor and a lot of other departments. City outcome, creating economic opportunity, once again, increased number of combined regular and non-resident library cards to 44,000. We're pretty close to that. But we want to continue to work on that goal. And then the last one, excellence in city government, achieve state and federal grant funding of $25,000 annually. So that is just money that comes into us through the city. We also have a foundation that raises money, and we have, I'll talk about that a little bit later, but we have that as well. So that's why this is just through the city, and we look all the time. We're kind of unusual. We get $500, $200 grants, and then we get $80,000 grants. So we're kind of unusual. We love all of those. Those are all very important to us. Okay. Library meeting spaces. So this, once again, this is why this building is so important to the community. We have free or very inexpensive meeting spaces for people. I'm sure most of you have been at meetings in the library. We've got our multi-purpose room, which can hold large events or be divided by two. Then we have our boardroom, which is a great room, and it's, once again, it's free unless you bring food, and then it's $10. And our study rooms, which are always available and free. People can sign up for those. And we have so many different kinds of meetings in those study rooms. We have kids meeting, study groups meeting for whatever they want to do. We have people doing job interviews in those. We have people meeting with their attorneys. We have we have whiteboard walls in each one of them, so we have people designing things on the boards while they're in there. So they're constantly used, and they're very important to this community. So technology, once again, we have, I'm going to read this because photo scanner, low vision magnifier, several 3D printers, a large format printer and laminator, laser cutter, and sound room where patrons can record podcasts, music, and interviews. That's our newest one, and Amy has used that a few times. But I'm very happy that we continue. You know, everything is changing in the world so rapidly, so we're looking to bring people in Nampa. Some people in Nampa, I'm sure you know, never leave Nampa, right? So we're for those people who aren't going to get out and see a 3D printer anywhere else, or aren't going to get out. We bring it here. We bring it here to kids who are won't necessarily actually be able to touch one or see one work, except on a screen. And then we have our Express Holds pickup window, which in 2021 we were able to use ARPA funds to put in, and that's been a huge success and invaluable for many people who, like mothers who don't want to drag their kids all the way through the front of the building, elderly people who just want to come up and pick up their holds. It's been invaluable. So, oh yes, we have our bookmobile, which has been out and about for about 14 months now, and it's increasing its stops. We have a great staff who runs the bookmobile, our outreach staff, and people love them. We go to senior centers, nursing homes. We go to schools, preschools. We go to parks. All summer, we've got many parks we're going to go to. We go to Walmart. We go to all kinds of different places in the the community. People are reaching out to us, asking us to come to them, and we're making it happen. And the Wordsworth was actually funded by an ARPA grant as well. So we got $208,800 for that, and we were able to equip the vehicle and get a whole new collection for it, and highly successful. So, and here are just some photos, just to kind of show off. There's the bookmobile and the parade, and we have music at the library, and we have events. So this was a guy teaching people how to take care of their bikes out in front of the library, what other things were going on. We have community educational and just fun events. And then the one down in the corner was kind of a fun one. That's Ollie, who is our mascot, reading to those stuffed animals, and that was the stuffy sleepovers. So kids brought their animals to the library and had a story time and kind of wandered around with him and had milk and cookies, and then they left him in the library overnight, right? And they came and got them the next morning. And so in the meantime, our staff took many, many pictures of the stuffies doing all kinds of things. They were in my office at one point, sitting at my computer. They were using the technology. They was all over the building, and the kids the next morning got to see the pictures and see what had happened the previous night. That was a lot of fun. So some of our statistics. This is fiscal year 2023, so this ended last September. We've got our window count, or door bookmobile window count. So many people use the library. Our circulation of materials, reference desk transactions, so that's when someone comes in the library and they ask varied questions at a desk. So we help the community in that way with, and not just library questions, but all kinds of questions. Library and bookmobile programs, 926 of them throughout the year. Program attendance, over 27,000. Volunteer hours, we have great volunteers. Collection size, 237,340. And that is just our collection in our library, but because we're part of a consortium with 10 other libraries, our patrons have access to over 3 million items. And if we weren't part of that, we couldn't offer as much as we do, not nearly as much. Then we have our study room, meeting room bookings, 3,800, which is great. So those are really good numbers. Grants and donations, I talked a bit about this before. So Library Foundation brought in between 21 and 24, almost 167,000. And then the City of Nampa, that part of that was the ARPA grant for Wordsworth, the bookmobile, excuse me. Anyway, a total of $437, and we work, as I said, really hard to go out and look for more grants. Libraries aren't as easy to get grants for in many cases, but we search for everything we can. Oh, we have our own strategic plan. So the library, we just completed it last year. It's a 5-year strategic plan, and these are our 4 ideas that we're working on. Enhance user experience. So we're always looking to improve things cost effectively. The building is getting older, and so we're starting to have some furniture, some things. So in the next few years, we do have a fund balance, our very own fund balance that we can ask for if we have things we think are vital, but we're kind of making things go on. Elevate library resources, and that's something else. We have a collection development librarian that we've had for a little over a year. We didn't have that before, and that person in that job is managing the collection far differently than we have in the past, and it's much better. Strengthen community engagement. So all these various groups that come to us, all the various programs we put on, it only strengthens the community. It brings people together constantly, and we're a very big part of that. And then broaden technology. Once again, we're all about making that available for patrons. So there's something that not everyone knows, but there's Idaho library law and the library budget. The law talks about a lot of things having to do with the internal workings of the library, but as far as the budget goes, so our board, our 5-person board, they all sit for 5-year terms, so they are the ones that approve our budget, the line items in the budget. I work on the budget, I discuss with the board, we work together, and then we present it to City Council. And at that point, City Council really can't affect the lines because the board has already done that. Legally, the board has to do the budget lines. But, and beyond that, so it's we're different in kind of some other ways than other departments. We're the only one that has that. And then here's our org chart. Our wonderful staff. As I said before, we have 44 staff members, 33 FTE. We're divided out into these different categories that work very well for us. We have no changes for fiscal year 2025 in our staff levels. I had intended on making one of our 29-hour positions in material services a 40-hour position if I could, because that's the direction we need to be going. That would really strengthen that department. But unable to, and understand that completely this year because of budget restraints, and so we're just going to table that and hopefully get that accomplished later. And I just want to thank you now. We're a library. Everybody knows what a library is, but I think we're a pretty terrific library. And I really appreciate the support from our community and city council and the mayor. You've been very good to us, and we'll continue to make you proud of us.
Claire, thank you so much. Do you have any council members? Do you have any questions?
Mayor, I do.
Yes.
Claire, really quick. The 3D printer and the recording rooms, you said the recording rooms are open for the public to use.
Yes.
Is the printer as well, or is there a cost to that?
People, it's a slight cost. All we do, we don't look to make money with that kind of thing. So we're a resource for the community, so we just have people pay for what the PLA, that's the material used, just that cost and nothing more. And a little bit of a cost on top of that just for use of the machine. But then the sound room is a little room that's equipped with recording devices, and it's got soundproof walls. And people can come in and use that for free. Yes, they just sign up for it. And yeah.
How do they sign up? I'm just asking because people will probably be watching. So
Yeah.
who can use this? Is this county, city? How do they sign up?
That's that they sign up through our website, or they can call, but there's a link on our website. They can go in and sign up, and they sign up generally for 2-hour sessions. We can extend those. If someone needs longer and we see we have no more bookings, we'll say, sure, you can be in there longer. But it's only been open a few weeks. I mean, we're already getting quite a few people coming in, so so far it's a success, and we're asking everybody, what can we do to improve it? What could we do better? And so we're always looking to improve, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Claire.
Mayor Kling.
Yes.
So I know we've been talking about this for a long time, so maybe this is directed to Mayor Kling and you, Claire, we've been talking about getting a security system, cameras for the library. Where's that at? Are you going to budget that for this year?
I know that, let's see, it's facilities who's working on it right now, and we've been in discussions with IT, and we have a lot of places we're going to have cameras, and I think it was toward the end of the month we were supposed to have some new ones installed, and thank you for bringing that up, Victor, because we had a gentleman not behaving appropriately on the computers the other day, and we want to move some of those computers, but the camera that's currently in the space we want to move the computers to isn't working. So it's vital for the library that we have cameras and increased cameras. If we had cameras all throughout the public spaces, that would be ideal, absolutely ideal, because there are a lot of people in and out every day. So it'd help us keep track, yeah.
Well, I know we talked about we're going to link those to the police department for security reasons.
Yes.
Is that still done?
I believe so, yeah, and I'm thrilled with that. So they can flick it, if we have a problem there, flick on the
Yes,
cameras,
yeah.
and yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
good. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
They won't be monitored live, but they will be available if they needed to link in. And there is a camera master plan for the city that has been put together by facilities that we're revisiting, having discussions, and we'll bring that forward
Okay, cool.
in our capital budget discussion in June.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Any other questions? I just want to say, Claire, thank you for your work. You know what I realize is that the library is more than a library. It's a community center. And the trainings, I'm thinking the low vision, the hearing things that you've done there. You've had the medical things there over the years. There's been a lot that has taken place and that does take place at the library that's very community driven. It's more than just books.
Yes.
And yeah, there's just a lot that happens
more.
there. Thank
Yeah.
you for the,
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate seeing the stats.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So City Council, just so you know, the goals, we didn't have those printed for you. You've got Nampa Family Justice Center. We can send this link, but then in your budget book, these will all be in the back of your budget book. So after we're done today, we'll send these via email to you, so you have them. Okay. Andrew, good morning.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Andrew Luther. I'm the general manager of the Ford Idaho Center and Nampa Civic Center. Most of you probably know, but some of you may not. I work for a private company called Oakview Group, who is contracted to manage the two venues on behalf of the city of Nampa. You know, that being said, we are a private company, but multiple things can be true in the fact that, you know, we're here to perform a service, but we can also perform it in a way that aligns with city goals, values, and mission statements. So we'll go on to the next slide. So as I was thinking through this and how to condense this shortly and succinctly, I decided to break it up into 5 basic pots. So we'll review a slide each on how we provide financial stability, increase the fund balance, grow event content, be a community partner, and turning events into experiences. So first one is the financial stability. So many of you are probably aware of some of the challenges historically at both venues, but my company's been here since 2015 and has been pretty successful in shifting the financial resources of the venue. Obviously, it takes a lot of partnership with the city and their continued investment in it, but running the playbook as it's designed to be ran, and that's resulted in a combined $2.3 million positive variance with the last 2 fiscal years across the 2 buildings. So we're very excited about that. For reference, the Civic Center pre-2017 was losing a little more than $700,000 a year, and the Ford Idaho Center pre-2015 was losing upwards of $1.8 million, but an average of about 1.2, 1.3. And the Ford Idaho Center's been profitable the last couple of years. Civic Center has reduced their budget drastically, down more than $500,000 historically compared to the kind of high water mark in prior years. Also super exciting, one of the goals from day one was to build up our fund balance so that we could one day operate sustainably on our own with zero draw from the general fund here. And today, the Ford Idaho Center fund balance sits at $4.6 million. So that's great progress, super important for that long-term goal of getting this off, the taxpayer books. The Nampa Civic Center is at $749,000, so that's a good number also, which we're quite pleased with. We get there lots of ways, obviously booking events, trying to generate revenue, but you can also get there by being a good steward to the dollar. So a lot of the projects we're focusing on, have ROI to them, ROI and life safety. Those are key priorities for us. So just quick examples, the LED lights, the security systems. Security systems sound expensive, but at the end of the day, there's an incident and something goes to court, you can prove something. There's lots of lawsuits that can get gone around, thrown out, and just safety for the staff itself. Automation projects, heating, cooling systems, electrical systems, you name it, having it on smart software to be able to 100% control the system at any time, any place, customized for every event in the facility is important. Then another example, the amphitheater floor. That might seem small in the grand scheme of things, but it took a grass infield and turned it into concrete. So now Cody's here. Parks no longer has to maintain that. It's a small postage stamp for the whole property. But there's no water going to it. There's no tractor time. There's no staff time, and it helps us be faster as we're turning around event to events. Go to the next slide. Thank you. Growth of event content. So one big way we're going to be able to do this is the RV expansion project. Right now, we're looking at roads getting built in the next week or so and hoping to be open by early June as our first June event. I think it starts June 5th. So we'll be having 60 new RV stalls on property for a total of 150. 110 of that are going to be full hookup. So that's really great because when we're going after large horse park events, the two most important questions are how many RVs can you host and how many horses can you host? And our number is going up significantly. So this will put us in the running for more significant events with larger economic impact. Looking at the amphitheater, we're at a record 33 concerts right now in fiscal year 24. So that's super exciting. Last year, we were at 24. Year before that, I believe we were at 17. So good growth year over year, and these are large net revenue drivers for the Ford Idaho Center. At the Nampa Civic Center, we want to continue the trend of creation of in-house events. So a press release went out yesterday for our evening like bands in the garden, happy hour, partnering with local wineries, calling it Wine Down Nampa. And it'll be happening monthly starting in June here. Now, on top of that, growing Oktoberfest, growing Senior Fair, growing Craft and Chocolate Affair, and what else can we do? There's a lot out there, and we're running all those things down. Being a community partner. This is incredibly important because equally as important as the city budget is this Nampa Auditorium District. If this goes through in November, it's right in today's dollars, it's $1.2 million that would be filtered directly to the venues for expansion projects. Nampa Civic Center, Ford Idaho Center, there's nothing else involved in there. That's a huge impact. And these buildings, Civic Center's over 40, the Ford Idaho Center is over 25. There are going to be needs, there are expensive needs. This year we're looking at a capital project that's about $800,000 just for water boilers at the Ford Idaho Center. There's end of life, it's time to replace them. But that's a big number and hard to fit with all the city needs and all the important needs. But this is the most important thing we can do as far as setting ourselves up for success in the long term for 50 years, 100 years from now, whatever it is. Turning events into experiences. So we don't like to look at events as transactional. You make a repeat customer by showing them a great time, whether it's ease of purchasing a ticket, entering the parking lot, finding a restroom, leaving easily, and then the act on stage or the convention or the banquet they're there for will speak for itself, that they're obviously already engaged with. So we began 2 years ago surveying all of our ticket purchasers. It's a little harder to survey people who are there for a private event. You can't really send a survey out unless you're the client for a banquet, for example. But we have pretty extensive surveys, about 20 questions, dealing with parking, logistics, our online services, food and beverage, merchandise. We try to touch all the corners and then find the buzzwords that keep coming up and create plans for those so that we can deliver a great experience to the folks that are coming out, and they're more willing to take their hard-earned dollar and invest it back into an event at one of the facilities. So to wrap up, we're going to continue increasing the financial stability, building the fund balance, super important. The auditorium district, super important. All the projects we're doing behind the scenes to gain that ROI, that's super important as well. And then letting us do our job that you guys hire us to do, and that's book events and produce high quality content in an effective way. We're going to continue running that down every single day. And then all that results in being stewards of the taxpayer dollar, which at the end of the day, that's who owns the facility, and that's who we're all accountable to. And we want to make sure every dollar spent or gained is used most effectively.
Andrew, thank you.
Thank you.
That was excellent. Council, do you have any questions? Yes.
A couple of questions would be, so how much right now is coming to you from the city fund?
Right now, we're funded at a $500,000 loss at the Ford Idaho Center and a $356,000 loss at the Nampa Civic Center.
Can you explain that a little bit? So that
Sure.
was last year's budget.
Current year, right now.
The one
Yep.
we're in right now, as you move to FY '25, and explain the why, because you've turned a profit, so expand
Sure.
on that a little bit.
So it's budgeted at that operating loss. We're actually finishing much better than that. But the fund balance about 6-7 years ago was greatly depleted. And the goal was to set an attainable budget to roll those dollars into that fund balance for those big projects that come up that just have to get done and protect against other needs of the city, the other unknowns. Just building that piggy bank was super important. I'm super glad we did, because when COVID hit, it really ravaged the business. Obviously, we couldn't hardly host any events. We had to furlough 80% of our staff, and that fund balance was what got us to the finish line. And not having to go back for a second draw from the city operating budget was super important. So we have a number of about $5 million that we've been working towards for the last few years, and with that number, we feel pretty comfortable on operating sustainably at the Fort Idaho Center. The Nampa Civic Center, it's a little more challenging. You know, conference centers aren't necessarily huge revenue producers, but you can still apply the same goal and try to reduce that operating budget and still build that piggy bank.
So at the Civic Center, what's the status of seating change in the auditorium?
Seating change, we're currently fundraising, but also continue add it to the capital list. We've raised about $6,000 for that project, investigating some grants as well.
So how have you been raising money? What capital campaign have you?
Grassroots for our website, press releases, media alerts. We had news out when we launched the project, announcing it at various events, poster campaigns, you know, lots of ways on how we're marketing a show, for example.
What's the cost of that seating change?
It's about $500,000. It's not just seats, it's also rebuilding of ADA compliance, rebuilding the floor, changing the slopes. Mm-hmm.
Andrew, can you quickly explain what the campaign is that you're doing to raise money for that?
Sure. So we're calling it the Honor Wall, and it's located right across from the admin office. There's a huge mural of Nampa historically, and then there's a donor wall, and then another honor wall we're looking to put in. There was discussion about putting names on seat backs again, but kind of thought with new seats, let's not tarnish them with anything. Let's put something out front and center. So there's different levels of sponsorship that you can give, and with that level of sponsorship, you know, reflects the placement on the wall and the recognition from there.
Okay. And then where are we at with the parking lot repairs for the Idaho Center?
Parking lot repairs were complete for phase 1. There'll be a phase 2 on this year's capital request, and it needs to be an annual add onto the capital.
Can you explain where phase 1 was and how you're
Sure.
doing that?
So phase 1 was all ADA and close-up parking. So everything that's directly on the fence line was crack-filled and resealed, or not resealed, but painted with the lines. And then the west lots, the two larger portions, both of those have been crack-filled, and the southern west lot has been line painted. We're still working through the north half of that lot. So we're on track.
And can you remind us how many phases there were? Was it 6?
It's a 4-year plan, but there's like 9 clumps of the parking lot that we've identified to build this up in the most effective way that we can hit a few every year going forward.
Perfect. And then the water boilers, is that something that's going to need to be replaced this year?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And last question, the district, is that for sure going to be on the ballot in November?
We have to go to the judge in June, but we feel pretty confident it will be.
Is that because we didn't get enough signatures, or what's the purpose of
We
the
actually
judge?
collected 4,800 signatures, and we're very glad Rick Hogebaum is at the county clerk's office, because there was a certain amount of challenges that we had ran into. We had enough signatures collected, but due to timing, the judge did not agree with the signatures that were submitted. Unfortunately, we were only given our signature count the night before the hearing, so that turned into a harder challenge than we all anticipated as a group. But we do have the signatures were collected. I don't anticipate seeing any reason why we won't be on the November ballot. That might be a good thing anyways, to get away from all the busyness of this May ballot here right now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Do you have any other questions?
I'll wait till we get to budget.
Are you sure? Okay. And you're welcome to reach out even before then to Andrew directly. Yeah. So Andrew, you've done a really good job. I'm extremely thankful for the financial turnaround. It's interesting, but having been in this business, you can't guarantee who's touring. It's a complex financial model, but we've done a significant turnaround. I really appreciate that. I think we have said, just for council, and you already said it, but just restating, we have a goal of being financially sustainable without having to have funding coming from the city. And we did set a goal of $5 million to where you've got a buffer, because you never know what's going to happen, whether it's touring or like COVID, right? And we got through COVID amazingly well. That could have been a whole different story. So anyway, thank you for your work. We'll keep striving for it, and I appreciate, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Andrew, sorry, really fast. Out of that $500,000 that you said that we need for the seats, how much have you already fundraised?
About 5,000.
Okay, thank you.
And I think we need to talk about how we as a city can help
Yeah.
raise the awareness of that. and
Amy
get it
has been
out.
great. She has helped us quite a bit, but there's, as with anything, there's always something else. There's always something else we can all do.
Yeah.
We have a long way to go, so that's why I was wondering. Okay, cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Jeannie Strohmeyer. I am the director at the Nampa Family Justice Center. And I want to mention we have here Alyssa. She is in the back. She's the assistant program manager. And Jenny is our program manager with the Nampa Family Justice Center. So to start out, I want to just say thank you. Thank you for your service to this community. I know that you spent countless hours serving this community and all the decisions that are being made, and we really want to thank you for that. And likewise, I want to thank you for allowing us to serve this community. It is a great privilege and an honor to serve the people that we serve, and you all make it happen and allow us to do that. So thank you. I'm going to go right into our presentation today. And in front of you, you will see that the PowerPoint that's in front of you, I made sure that you had that, so because I'm going to go through this rather fast, and I want to make sure you have all the details and can go over that at your leisure. One of the papers that you have is a Family Justice Center client services comprehensive list. So that's everything that we're doing at the Family Justice Center. We do a lot of things, and I'm not going to go over that list in detail. I'm just giving that to you so you can have that as part of your information. So we're going to go to, I wanted to go over the contents really quick. Can you go back to the contents? There you go. So I'm going to talk about our why, our mission, our overview, our accomplishments, our goals, and then Jenny is going to talk a little bit about the budget proposal summary. Go ahead. So I want to talk about.
Could I need to ask a quick question.
Yes.
I'm seeing, are we showing in our feed the PowerPoint? Just wanting to make sure that the feed is actually showing the PowerPoint. I wasn't watching up here later. It is. So the feed has the PowerPoint, not this screen. I mean, it may be in a little corner, but.
Right. It is, right now, it's the PowerPoint and two smaller windows beside it.
Okay. Thank you. I just was confused when I was seeing that. Thank you so much. Sorry for the
Yeah,
interruption.
it's okay. So just at the very bottom of this screen here, you'll see who we're serving. I know most of you have come and done a tour at the Family Justice Center and familiar with what we do. And I just want to remind you a little bit about who we are and what we do. And so the people that we serve at the Family Justice Center are survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, elder abuse, stalking, and human trafficking. And those are the people that we're serving. Those are the only people we serve at the Family Justice Center. And I think it's really important, too, to talk about why we do this work. It is because we want everyone to know that they are wanted, loved, and of great value in our community. You know, the people that we are seeing before they walk into our doors, they are hearing things like this all the time. Things like, you're stupid. You're an idiot. Nobody wants you. We wish you were dead. I wish you weren't even born. You're worthless. Things like that over and over again people are hearing before they walk into our door. So by the time they walk into our door, they have believed that about themselves. They believe they have no value. They believe they have no worth, and they allow people to treat them that way. And when you believe that, whatever you believe about yourself is the way you're going to act and what you're going to allow in your life. And so the people walking in our door, they allow abuse. They allow people to treat them, hurt them physically and sexually, and treat them and say horrible things about them. And they just they receive that. And so what we want to do is help them to know what is true about them, that they are wanted, that they are loved, and they are of great value. And the way we do this and walk alongside them through our mission, what our mission is to promote safety, self-sufficiency, hope, and healing. So everything we're doing is to help them know they are wanted, loved, and of great value. And I will tell you, when they know that, when they believe that, it changes the trajectory of their lives and their children's lives. When people, again, believe that they are worth nothing, they act that way and they allow things in their life. But when they believe they have great value and purpose, they then will not allow people to abuse them. They will not allow people to treat them in inappropriate ways. They will then teach that to their children, and they protect their children, and thereby changing the generational cycle and breaking that cycle of violence. And that is the work that we're doing at the Family Justice Center. And we have seen people's lives change throughout the years that I have been there, and people coming back and saying thank you, and people giving and investing to the community. And so it's really, really important as we walk this journey, and anything I talk to you about today, it's all about that. People understanding that they are valuable and that they are important. You can go ahead and change that. So the way that the victim services typically is throughout our country is people they have to go throughout the community to find services. When they're leaving an abusive relationship, they have to go find civil services and civil help. They have to find help to walk through the criminal system. They have to find housing. They have to find jobs. They have to find food. They have to find services for their children. And they have to find therapy and all the things that they are needing when they're leaving an abusive relationship. And it is overwhelming and daunting, so much to the fact that oftentimes they give up and say, forget it, I can't do this, this is too hard. And so they walk away and they go back into their the relationship that they left. And what happens then is they continue this generational cycle and this pattern of whatever's been modeled in their home, they repeat that cycle over and over. And this is the way traditionally it is, and we have seen this in the past. People they want to give up and they can't do it. But the Family Justice Center has a very different model. And what we do is we recognize that when people can come to one location and get many, many services in one location. So on that sheet, you'll see in the middle of the circle is our mission: safety, self-sufficiency, hope, and healing. And around that circle, you'll see a lot of the different services that we provide. As I mentioned earlier, the comprehensive list of services that we provide. So when people come to our location, they come and they get all kinds of, we can help them with the civil system stuff. We help them with the criminal system because we have systems within our center. We have 10 in-house partners. We help them find housing. We help them find food. We help them find jobs. We help them with all the things that they're needing help and services with. And so what they can do is come to the same location over and over again to get the services, and it is life-changing. I have heard hundreds and countless amount of people that have told me the difference that is being made because of the center and the work that we're doing at the Family Justice Center. I want to also mention to you, oh, thank you. Go ahead and you can go to the next one. Oh, very good. Thank you. So I want to go to the next one, the adverse childhood experiences. I don't know if you've heard about this, but this is so significant. I'm going to go over it really briefly, but on your own time, I hope that you will look this up because this impacts our community. We want a healthy community where people thrive, or people are living their best life. And that is the work at the Family Justice Center. We're talking about people that are coming in that are broken, that are wounded, that have had what we called adverse childhood experiences. This is a study that was done that is used in the entire world. It is used in our country. It is used in our community. This was a research-based study that was done that is very reputable, and we use this and we show, because we have been doing this work for a long time, and we have seen this, and now we have the research to back it up. And basically what happens with this ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experience Study, it shows us that the children that have had traumatic events in their life, they are hundreds of percent more likely to have more mental health issues, be involved in drug use, be involved in criminal activity, and on that goes. And what we do at the Family Justice Center is we are intervening in their life and shifting the trajectory of their life. Their trajectory is going toward the juvenile system, going toward the jails, going toward the prisons, which we are investing in money all the time, making bigger jails, adding more law enforcement, which is really important to our community. But what we're doing at the Family Justice Center is we are intervening in that and thereby changing the trajectory of their lives, moving toward destruction is where they're going because of their ACEs, which is there's 10 different particular areas that this research shows. One is like physical violence, sexual violence, incarceration of parents, and things like that these kids have experienced. And their trajectory is going down the road of destruction and going toward the jails and toward the systems and the criminal activity. But the Family Justice Center intervenes. And places like the Family Justice Center intervenes to change the trajectory to go toward hope and healing and thriving in the community. And again, we have seen that over and over again. And so what we are doing in this community by investing in the Family Justice Center is we are changing the course of the people's lives. We are changing the course of this community, because what we know is if we don't do anything, 40 years down the road, this is going to be a very different community, because in these homes, we are raising victims and offenders, and that's what we know statistically. There's a greater increase, of quite a bit percentage higher, of kids growing up and they repeat the cycle of violence. And again, that's why we have to hire more law enforcement, because these kids and these families are having to deal with criminal activity. So we're trying to prevent that or put them in jail and get them off the streets. But the fact is they come back on the streets. And so that is why we want to do more than just put them in jail. We want to have some intervention in their life. And so go ahead and the next slide, thank you. So the people at the Family Justice Center are these people here that you're looking at. We have some people that are missing from this picture, but we have 30 people at the Family Justice Center that are doing this work day in and day out. Story after story, they're hearing these horrific things that are happening within our community. And what we know is that as we walk alongside them in this journey we're not just crisis focused. Sometimes people look at us and think we're crisis focused only. We actually deal with the crisis, but we are walking alongside people to help them with safety, self-sufficiency, hope, and healing, to change and save lives. That is what we're doing on a daily basis. And these are some of our 30 staff, and I want to also mention that our organizational chart, you can see that in front of you. It is, I'm not going to spend much time on it, but the city is providing, of the 30 staff, 3 staff. So the 3 in red that you will see there, you can, thank you. The 3 in red are the people that the city is supporting. Everyone else on that chart, all the different colors, it's a color-coded chart, they're all supported by grants or the foundation or different funding. So we have a lot of people, and the city is supporting us and very helpful, and we appreciate all that's being done. But I want you to know that it's 3 out of the 30 that the city is supporting. We are always looking for funding in other places, so we don't have to come and ask the city, and we work really hard to do that. And let me just go over some of the client services and the numbers that we have. So total client services, last year we served on an average 863 client visits a month. So we had 863 client contacts with people coming in. 130 of those 863 were brand new clients, never walked in our doors before. 733 are reoccurring. So it's people coming back over and over, which is actually what we call success, because they are walking the road from safety, self-sufficiency, hope, and healing. And that's where change is happening. So the year total last year was over 10,000 client visits. And we broke that down to adults and children. We had over 7,000 adult client visits and almost 3,000 children visits. And I also want to mention that we had, since 2020, we have had a 44% increase in client visits. It's a significant number and something that we are absolutely feeling at the center. And so again, any support you guys have given us has allowed us to continue doing this work and making a difference in that many people. So I also wanted to mention the increase in services. Just to give you a glimpse, this is just a little picture of what's happening, but since 2021, we have had a 132% increase in crisis counseling. It's such these are such important services because this is where change happens. We can't just say, here's some great information, now go on your way and I hope things are fine, because people need support on the journey. So 132% crisis counseling, 121% increase in tangible assistance since 2020. Tangible assistance would include gas cards and food cards. It would include changing people's locks. It would choose emergency housing and all kinds of things that people are needing to have safety and to get self-sufficient, because what we want to do is people are leaving oftentimes having nothing. They have no job, they have nothing. So we're walking alongside them week by week and we're helping them attain these things so they can become self-sufficient and not rely on an abusive person. And so our tangible assistance have gone up quite a bit because of our population has gone up quite a bit. We also have had an increased 226% increase since 2020 of our forensic interviewer, who is the one that is speaking to our children that are disclosing child abuse, and it's just kind of showing and reflecting how many more people we're having to see because of the situations that are going on. And I will tell you, a lot of times that's happening because more people are finding out about the services. A lot of times people don't know in the community what's going on and what services are to be had, so they don't access that, but the more we share that information, the more people know to come in, which is part of the increase and why we're increased. In addition, of course, our community is growing, and that has also caused an increase in our client numbers. I'm going to move into the accomplishments. We have done a lot of things. We have a strategic plan. We have a lot of things that we could share today, but I'm not going to for time's sake. I want to share some of the highlighted areas and highlighted things. So in 2020, so Jenny, myself, Alyssa, we have been with the center for many years. And so in 2020, we moved into a new role, in a new leadership role. And since 2020, and when we walked into this role, there was 5 grants that we were under, and that we inherited, which was wonderful, and we were very thankful for. And 21 to 23, we applied for 29 more grants and received every single one of them. And that credit goes to Jenny and Alyssa. They did the heavy lifting on those grants, and that enabled us to do more work that we needed to do. And it enabled us to also be able to get new furniture and intercom system and copy machines and all the things equipment we needed that we didn't have to ask the city for. So that has been our hope, and our constant aim is to get more and more funding so we don't have to come to the city and ask for any funding. And they have done a phenomenal job, and since then we've had a grant writer that's been hired, and she has been helping us with that, which has been amazing. We've also implemented quarterly trauma-informed trainings for our partners, which has been very important to do this work. We've implemented a victim service training academy, which we do on a monthly basis. It's essential that people are trained to do this good work, otherwise we can hurt and not help. And so we want to make sure we're helping and not hurting by making sure everybody's trained properly. We've added additional client space, so our foundation has funded, has rented, because we have outgrown our space, the foundation has added and rented a space next to us, so now we are expanding into that space. So we can be there to serve the clients that are walking in our doors, because we have about 13 client rooms, 2 to 3 times out of the week they're all full. So we have got to figure out how to serve the people that are coming and asking for help. We just can't turn them away. We have also moved contractors to employees and Personnel Plus. That's a really big lift. We just did that last month with HR's help. It has been something we've always had contractors ever since we started the Family Justice Center, and because of the new federal regulations, we've had to make sure that we're in compliance with that, and we've done all this shifting, which has been a lot of work. And again, thankful to HR. We've expanded our much-needed human trafficking program through another grant that we received for $750,000 last year. And in 2023, we had 65 active volunteers with the estimated impact of almost $300,000. Again, always looking for ways, how do we do this work, continue to grow because we need to, not because we want to, but we need to serve the people and not have the financial impact on the city. And then lastly, we have updated the entire space of the Family Justice Center. If you've not come for a tour, please come for a tour. We have beautiful space now because we have volunteers that came in called our design team. They were actual former survivors and have come through our center, and they came in and they redid the whole building, and they're remodeling our new space as well that we've acquired. And so these are just pictures before and after. There's a couple pictures. You can kind of go through those and see those pictures. You can go ahead and shift the slide. Thank you. The before and after, and then now we're at our goals, and we see our beautiful, beautiful, lovely Councilwoman Jangula here on this picture. We have a lot of great activities that we do throughout the year to bring awareness to what we're doing in our community. But these are our goals. We want a 5% increase in community awareness of the Family Justice Center services, and really for two main reasons. One is because we want people that are suffering in silence to know there is hope and healing for them and in their lives, and it is here in our community. We also want people in our community to know that we need them. We need volunteers. We need resources. We need people that are doing well to provide support to this work. Because this is not a city building problem. This is not a Family Justice Center problem. This is a community problem, and we need a community solution, and we all need to do our part to make the difference here. We also ask for we want to do a 5% increase in capacity to serve clients, because if we are going to have them walk in our doors, we need to be able to serve them. And then also achieve a 5% increase of grant funding to continue to grow, again, because the need is great. And I will tell you again, just because sometimes people don't realize this stuff that we're talking about is happening everywhere in our community across the country. The abuse is happening. And so it's so, so important that we know that the city of Nampa is a safer place to live because the Family Justice Center is here. And that is something to be so proud of. And I'm so thankful that we do have the Family Justice Center here. I'm going to have Ginny come and just share a little bit about the budget and the budget proposal summary.
Okay, so this year we are asking for approximately a $65,818 increase in the city support for admin, in our admin budget, up to about $424,000. The $427,000 that's on there is reflected of some other income sources that go into our admin budget. And this full increase is coming from salaries. So last year, the city supported 2.75 positions. This year, part of the fiscal year 24, they have upped that to 3 positions to bring on all of Alyssa instead of 0.75 of her. So we're very thankful for that. So that is an increase, and then the other increases of salaries and benefits of almost $50,000. And then our IT budget has increased about $18,500 from last year. And so of the expenses that we have control over, such as our postage or mileage reimbursement, water, security, fire, those types of expenses, we actually have decreased our budget by $1,000 from our ask last year. And much of what we spend, all of what we spend on client services is actually coming through our foundation donations and then a client services fund balance rollover. And that's that $95,000 amount that you see on there. But the foundation also supports us with positions that you saw on that organizational additional charge, and then other services that they provide at the center in that amount of $350,000. We currently have 1.5 million projected of the grant income coming in. We have written for 3, or will be writing for 3 additional federal grants that are not included in our budget, just because we have no idea whether or not those will be awarded, but hopefully those will allow us to expand our services even further.
This is the last slide, and then maybe questions if you have them. So we are not only dealing, as I mentioned, with crisis, but we are investing in our future. And just as it's important to invest in the infrastructure of our city, it is vital that we invest in the future of the people in this community. This is the work we do at the Nampa Family Justice Center. We are in the business of saving and changing lives. And again, I thank you so much for your continued support. Yes.
Thank you. Questions?
Yes, I have one, Mayor.
Yes.
So you just give me the numbers here, and I do believe you need more people. I know you do, and so does our community. But so let me say, in the 10-year plan, hopefully you have a new building in sight down the road. I mean, because you don't have any more room for anything right now. So I'm just throwing it out, Mayor. I just want to know what they're thinking about, because it's just too overcrowded over there. What do you think?
Yeah, so we agreed.
No.
We work with the foundation, and the foundation is talking about that and working through trying to capital funds and such. So we are talking about that. We don't have any plans right now. We just have that one rental space, and if the owner of that building, it's a really big building. If he's willing to sell, the foundation is looking at potentially, wanting to buy that. So we are talking and thinking about that. So thank you for bringing that up. Yes.
I'll follow up, Mayor. So one other thing is the revenue-based assistance. Are you receiving revenue from bills that you send out for client services?
That's somewhat of a tricky question. So
Yeah.
the revenue that comes into our admin budget is from a lease rental agreement that we have had with Health and Welfare since we opened. So it's a pretty nominal amount. And then the other refunds and reimbursements are actually coming from kind of that indirect expenses that we have built into some of our smaller grants that pay for my time that I spend on reporting. So that goes back into our admin budget to help cover the costs of our general operations.
See, I don't know how you all do your budget. That's mind-boggling. When I spend time with you, all those grants, I don't know how it's mind-boggling to me. Thank you for doing that, but there's got to be a better way of budgeting the Family Justice Center, and I don't know what that is. Yeah, just a comment.
Thank you.
You know, and looking at your budget and seeing that your total budget's over $2 million, but $1.5 million is covered in grants. And so the city, so just to be clear, I was trying to figure out what is the increase because it's our Gen Gov budget, what is the actual increase in your budget this year? Did you say 65,000?
In the admin budget, so the part that the city is funding, it's $65,818.
And that, just to clarify again, that's to cover whatever increase for those 3 positions, and then also for the IT. So now we're paying $82,000 a year for IT. So that is increased quite a bit, as well as the ICRIMP.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yes. So help me, what's the geographic area that the Family Justice is serving?
So predominantly Nampa is the clients that we're serving. It's anybody that walks in our building that needs support. If they're coming from Ada County, we often will try to connect them back into some place in Ada County. But sometimes they're leaving Ada County so they can get help. They don't want to be served over there. They don't want to be over there. So it's all over whoever's walking in. But the stats are there's like about 25%. As we looked at the numbers again, there's 25% outside of the city of Nampa.
Canyon County and then?
Canyon County predominantly is the 25, yes.
Okay. And then, so do other cities in Canyon County contribute to your budget?
Nobody else does.
And you have
Canyon County?
asked.
Canyon County doesn't?
We have asked multiple times, the commissioners, and they were giving us $20,000, but last year they completely stopped giving us funding with the new people that were in the position, in the role. So we have asked, and we continue to ask.
We did submit a letter.
Take some notes.
Yeah, we submitted a letter to Canyon County Commissioners, and I'm not sure where their budgeting process is again. We're resubmitting that letter, correct, with the new stats, and just let us know when the hearing is so that we can go speak. It's a philosophical approach, and we really need to work with them. We have been trying for years, and then to go from the small amount of $20,000 that they've contributed to nothing was quite unfortunate. So.
Absolutely.
City of Caldwell, nothing?
No, I've talked to them as well, and there's nothing.
Do they offer somebody in Caldwell, Middleton, other parts of Canyon County doing what you're doing?
There is a place called AAFV, Advocates Against Family Violence, and that's in Caldwell, and they are a domestic violence shelter. So they don't do what we do, but they house the people that are in domestic violence. So we do get people from those areas that will never go into the shelter or never be connected with a shelter. The difficulty sometimes is people don't understand the difference, and that's the problem sometimes.
That's the facility north of the Canyon County complex?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Traffic, who else? I just see city leadership, and beyond you, Mayor. We need some sit down with other leaders in the Canyon County,
I think you're right.
and we need some heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
That would be very beneficial.
Great
Yes.
idea.
So we will have Jeannie reach out. What you'll need to be armed with is the stats, which you do have in here. And then, I agree. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
We would appreciate that support in helping us connect with all the community leaders. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your great work. So our very last presentation today is from Jose De Leon. And I will say this has got to be one of the more difficult ones because of coming in and creating something from nothing.
Correct.
So I feel for Jose as he's worked on the budget, because there isn't anything that he gets to use as a track record. So this year, it's creating a lot from nothing, and you're still in the process, but
Yeah.
thank you for your hard work. It's appreciated.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I think that more of an update as opposed to budgetary numbers. I think some of those have been shared with other departments in regards to the budget, but that's something that's going to be ongoing, and I'll be able to provide much more at a later date. So basically today, I wanted to just provide a little bit of an update as with what's been happening at the center. This is interesting. The mission and the overview that you see here, I actually pulled from as much information as I could find on the center. But we're actually working on a mission and vision and statement that would actually be more fitting for the center that we're actually working on now. Here it's, it tells us that the Idaho Hispanic Community Center was poised to become a vital institution within the community and promoting cross-cultural understanding, appreciation, unity, while celebrating the vibrant history and tapestry of the Hispanic culture through diverse programming, collaborative partnerships, community engagement, fulfill our mission in preserving and promoting the Hispanic heritage for generations to come. It's more expansive than that. So what we intend to do with the center is actually expand not only with the Hispanic community, but all the community, and make it not only more inclusive, but also more available to use that particular center for the different purposes within the community. So promoting and preserving the Hispanic heritage through enriching programs and events and educational initiatives, fostering unity and understanding and appreciation within the community is incredibly important. And so we have to work on a vision that's going to do that. And so we're going to crystallize that much more defined in the coming days. And so with the help of the advisory group, we'll be able to do that. We want to be the premier destination for Hispanic cultural immersion and education, celebration, and again, fostering cross-cultural understanding and appreciation. So the objectives that we have in doing that would be to establish a physical place where the Hispanic Cultural Center, and now the Idaho Hispanic Community Center, will include event venues, exhibition areas, educational facilities by the end of the first year. And so I'm working, diligently to kind of attack on different fronts to be able to make that positive impact. The key strategies to do that would be programming diversity. In other words, curate a calendar of events that reflect the richness of the diversity of the community, including art exhibitions, culinary workshops, language classes, dance performances, music concerts, historical lectures. And then also another key strategy is community engagement, is actively engage the local Hispanic community through outreach events, cultural festivals, partnerships with schools, universities, community organizations, which are also invited and being part of that advisory group. What we see as an impact is obviously in these first days was to select an advisory group. That was very important to get that stood up very quickly, and that has been done. So we now have an advisory group. We also have we've had 2 meetings and a couple of surveys that have come out so that we can actually then put the name forward to the community. And the result of that obviously has been the new name, the Idaho Hispanic Community Center, that has come forward for that. Since February, we've had a number of events. We've had 19 events in the center. We've been also impacting approximately 3,800 people that have come through the center in those 3 months. And so that's just a real short snapshot of some of the impact that we're seeing, but it's actually growing. It's something that we're seeing a lot more interest in. And so we also have to identify the infrastructure projects that are a priority, and that was part of the budget discussion, recently in regards to the roof repairs and the HVAC, the tile, the paint, the kitchen remediation that has to be done, and then the multipurpose room, which is the largest event venue, and that's the room that's actually being used quite a bit. That and room 100 on the first floor is probably the most trafficked area in the building. And the advisory committee that we have, and I apologize, it's actually a duplication on that slide, has started to break up also into smaller groups to be able to do some visioning, to do strategic planning, and so on and so forth, so that we can actually get around a lot of these issues. But obviously it takes time and effort to do that. So, and we have to be open to the business or to the public. Regular hours. So right now the center is open regular business hours, and I'm available to any of those individuals. So we've seen a number of concerns that we have. Obviously, sustainability and a strategic plan are incredibly important. So we have to come up with a plan to be able to lease the space that we do have that is available that we can actually turn some revenue on. So revenue generation right now, the projected would be about $135,000 on events and leases, fixed leases that we have in the building currently. So that's going to be the projected that I have, and that takes into account 3 pending spaces that are available to be able to do that. And then in addition to that, the culinary piece or the commercial kitchen, once that is up and running, will also be a revenue generation piece of the building, as well as the bank space. And that has not been addressed quite yet. There's a space for a financial institution. Therefore, we're going to be working on that piece to add to the revenue generation of the building. So those are things that are kind of in the works. Establishing community branding is incredibly important because the community has to have an identity with that particular building. We want to stay true to its original purpose, but in addition to that, we want to expand. And hence, when we talk about the Idaho Hispanic Community Center, that's exactly what that is going to enable, is for us to be able now to do some definitive branding and to be able to build on some of the work that we've done so far. We also need to set up a sponsorship plan. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be doing with the advisory group, to kind of put together a plan of what sponsorships we need for the building, and then start actively going out and trying to raise funds through sponsorship as well as grants. And grants, we'll be identifying some grants that we'll be able to apply for, both for infrastructure and growth. And in essence, I think part of that building is designed specifically for expansion of office lease space. And so we're going to be working directly on that as well. And then, of course, the continuing work on the infrastructure. So it's very basic. I don't have any of the numbers for the budget to actually go through. The historical data is just pretty much gone. so we have to work from zero. But we're definitely going to build it to become a sustainable space. And any questions?
Any questions? I just want to share that, first of all, Jose, you've done an amazing job stepping in. And the building is busier than it has been in years. And it is so much fun to see that. It is clean. It is bright. Going into the multipurpose room that I always felt was so dark, it's bright with the lights. And so our facilities department has worked diligently. And they're continuing to restore the floors and to do what they can. What I do appreciate, Jose, about the work that you're doing is that Jose's looking for grants. So there are expenses ahead, facility expenses. So we're looking for the right grants to come in and support. We're looking for the sponsorships. But we're also taking a little bit of time, and I've said we need to make sure we do it right. So taking the time to identify what those sponsorship levels are, what they get, how long they're in place, who we need to go after. The advisory group, I think it's a great group of people. Dan Puga chairing that, working alongside Jose just to support the vision and how we get there. We will have a good plan. So as we put together the budget, the goal is operationally you generate enough revenue to cover your operational costs. Definitely not the infrastructure, the heavy lift of the replacement on that aging facility. So we will continue to be working with that. And Jose's putting the budget together, so you will have that in the packet. And then I just want to encourage, and thank you so much, Jose.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to encourage council members to please reach out. And so I know we have some missing that will be watching this. Please reach out to staff members prior to our budget workshops. So this is to give an overview of where departments are, because it's interesting to work on a budget if you don't know what the department is and what they're doing. So this year we really wanted, both for council and public, to really see what the departments are doing, what their goals are. But let's make sure that we and this is just for everyone, and this is also for the public watching. If we have questions, let's get those questions out between the time you get the budget book and before we move in. We try to have it out at least 2, possibly 3 weeks. Staff is available, so a lot of the discussion needs to happen before we ever get to the bench, as far as clarifying questions, asking questions, that sort of thing. So anyway, hopefully these meetings have been beneficial. I know it takes a lot of time. And then we have a couple more of these meetings, but we also have our May council workshop That will be the VRT presentation. I can't remember what the other one is, but that's a really important one because that's where we're going to be hearing and having discussions around VRT. The June workshop, which is, these are the third Thursdays, that one is also a very important workshop because that's where the capital budget's going to be presented to council. And Doug's going to give last-minute instructions on the budget before you get your budget book that week, because the budget book will be coming out. That's a Thursday. You'll probably get it on the following Monday. So we're trying to lay a really good foundation before the budget books come out, and then we'll have the budget workshops. But a lot of the work gets done before we ever get to that workshop. And then we also try to host a town hall once the budget book is out, before we get to the workshop. Because once the workshop takes place, as you guys know, we've already made a decision on a budget, pretty much, at that workshop, before the August final public hearing. So, anyway. Well, thank you. Thank you, Brittany, for running and getting this all together. I want to say thank you to the team. Thank you for the food, the work you've done. Really good job. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Okay.